Right, Russell. I am so excited to have you on the podcast. It's an absolute honor, especially Oscar-winning sound engineer sitting in front of me on the podcast to talk about all the greatest experiences you had. And yeah, it's an honor. I have no words to express. Thank you so much for accepting my invite. And as I said, this podcast is being done as a tribute to Sir, with utmost love and respect for him. And this has turned out to be more like a talking autobiography of Sir, with 45, 48 odd guests who have come on the podcast. So thank you so much. And with the man himself on the podcast, Sir came on the podcast as well, and he was there for almost an
Mm-hmm.
hour. So it's been magical. So thank you again for coming.
Oh, wow. But I have a thank you for inviting me and making me part of this very unusual way of giving a tribute to someone. I have a rejoinder. I'm not a sound engineer, I'm a sound designer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, of course. Yes, sorry. Yes, I apologize. And
no problem. No problem. People often make this mistake, and we are trying to correct it.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, it's not your fault. It's nobody's fault. It's just that we are trying to, we, when I say we, the we kind of people,
yeah.
the lesser mortals, not like ARR. Um,
Oh, you're being very
we're
humble.
just trying to. Oh, he is the most humblest. When you speak to him, he makes you feel that you are A.R.Rahman and he is some insignificant guy. So
Yeah, indeed. And so, Russell, how have you been? I know we're all living in interesting times. So, how are you coping up with everything that's going on, and how keeping up with the positive?
interesting time. You call this interesting time? This
So,
is hell. This is not something that we want. I want to delete 2020 from my calendar. My age, it's gone. I don't even consider it. So yeah, interesting in that respect.
yeah,
Otherwise, hell. The only way I think we can beat the COVID is make more babies. The
yeah,
kind of death rate that we're going is increase the birth rate.
yeah,
That's what the lockdown is doing also.
yeah, indeed. So, how are you? How are you keeping yourself positive?
Oh, I'm always positive. Um, uh, there's there needed to be a situation like this for me to be positive.
Mm,
Often, you swing into things. You have an emotional.
yeah,
Always, you have emotional seesaw.
yeah,
That too happens like everybody else. Other than that, in fact, I'm looking. I am like this gave me this entire lockdown gave me an opportunity to spend so much time with my family. I never spent this kind of a time.
yeah,
I played with my son. I played with my daughter. I mean, I now when I come to studio and I sit here for like 2 hours. After 2 hours, I don't know what to do. So I just keep messaging them that I miss them, and I don't feel enough of having them. And
yeah.
my son turned 15 the other day, and he's the prime of his teens. And
Wow.
suddenly I feel that I'm going to lose him. I'm like, okay, he's not going to be there. I mean, in 2 years, he's going to go. Um,
Yeah.
so I want to have a maximum out of them. And so for me, this last 5 months has been very, very rewarding as a family member. And of course, there was a lot of jadu pocha. Uh, there was a lot of bartan dhona, but I enjoyed all that. Washing the bathroom was the tough time.
Wow. Right.
Cleaning the bathtub and bath stuff is like really, really. So, so when my servant, she came, I said, namichu means, like what you do every day that we got a sense of it. Um, yeah. So actually, this time sort of made me feel the value of people
Yeah.
and value of things,
Yeah.
time, how much other people do
Mm.
for you, even though, despite the fact, I mean, even though the fact that you're paying them, that's a different matter. Sometimes you pay and you don't get what you need. And I realize that how many of the people is actually contributing to your life. They're giving their own time,
Mm.
the time that they otherwise should have spent in their own ways. They are willing to invest it on you, and
Yeah.
I immensely value that. And that is one of the biggest lessons for me.
Wow. Amazing. Great. And so yeah, once again, thank you so much, Russell. It's really appreciated that you pulled out time for this. And look, I do have a lot of things to ask you for sure, but one of the things I definitely wanted to ask you was Sound Story 2. I know you're keeping yourself very busy with that, so just wanting to know where it is at and what's happening with it.
Oh, incidentally, AR opened the music for the
Yeah,
for Sound Story, and
yeah,
when he saw, he was like hooting when he saw me on screen. It's like literally, I was sitting in Chandan Theatre in Bombay. Like somebody, like when you see me, somebody like really, it was like really whistling, like oh, and all that. So I said, like, what is going on? He was very happy, and it's about pure recording. That is something
yeah.
that I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to, like, right now I'm doing a series with the Prithvi Theatre,
Hmm.
where the whole concept is about you know pure recording.
Wow.
I don't think as a concept, the concept of
Hmm.
pure recording is happening in
Okay.
any of the recording format, except some very few people of very high integrity like AR, or people like him
Hmm.
are doing it. So earlier, we need to score a song or score anything or do with films. We all used to walk into
Yeah.
very high-end studios and systems, and recording was taken very seriously.
Yeah.
Now everybody has Pro Tools. People are sitting in their bathroom and recording it, and hotel rooms and doing. You know, so it has taken a beating, and this is my attempt to bring back the original sense of listening. So
Yeah.
Sound Story is actually one such event. Uh, in fact, only AR only told me that day in the show
Hmm.
during the music release that there is only mm, this is only this is the one and only um, what do you call a sound tradition exists in the world, which is
Yeah.
Puram, Thrissur
Yeah.
Puram,
Of course.
and the film is based on Thrissur Puram. And he
Yeah.
said there's another like this. There's a huge sound event in Senegal on Sufi music. You know, Other than that, he said I haven't heard of anything like this, and it's amazing. So we did release Sound Story, and there were a few things happened, and we withdrew the film from the theater.
Hmm.
And of course, when we released it, there was a great critical acclaim. Ah,
Um, well, I mean, do you have any memories of meeting AR for the first time ever? Do you remember when it was?
yeah, I don't remember the date, but I remember the day. I don't think I
Okay.
will ever be able to forget that day in my life. Um,
Mm.
so when we did Slumdog, we never met. Okay, I was in my studio in Bombay, and I did live sound mixing for
Yeah.
Slumdog.
Yeah.
Then whatever post production that I've done, I did it in my Bombay studio and sent it over to London.
Wow.
And I couldn't be there at the mix.
Hmm.
And AR was in London. He was scoring in his plays and giving them music. And we actually met and started working together when we were doing Ghajini.
Hmm.
You know? And one day he came to my studio here in Bombay, and I was just showing him.
Yeah.
Um, I was looking at, we were looking together, we were together looking at the Bone Ultimatum series, and I was trying to tell him that this is the kind of
Hmm.
soundscape that I could bring it in. So, let's score it, and quite like that, interfering music. He came, he sat here, we had, a couple of hours. Then he said, okay, come to Chennai. the following week, I think, following week or the week after that, I went to Chennai. And, you know, Rosa came out when I was studying in the film school, first year at film school. Ever since, as a sound man, I heard the name um, Sridhar, and he always
Yeah.
wanted to meet Sridhar, and and he is a backbone of Rahman's score. Uh, Together, both of them together created a particular sound into the minds of Indian audience. So I always been, Sridhar has been that reverential figure.
Mm.
And the day I went there, Sridhar came and met me in AM studio, and he said, he told me like, I just sent, all the forms filled up for the Grammy Awards and all that. And Sridhar said, you did a fantastic job. AR was praising your work and all that. And then AR called. He said, okay, just wait. I'm just coming in 5 minutes. You know that AR's coming in 5 minutes. You know the story.
Yeah.
I would say Shah Rukh Khan is better. You know, like, but AR's 5 minutes is really, something that you have to put it in quote. So after 2 hours, get another call. Says, Sarah said, show him a reel. You know, and he called up again, said, you watch a reel, I'm coming in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I got up at 5 a.m. Took a 7 o'clock. I think I got like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
5 o'clock flight.
Yeah.
Reached Chennai at 7 o'clock. And at 9 o'clock, I was in the studio, something like that.
Yeah.
By 2 o'clock, I get to watch one reel. And all that. And I haven't even gone to the hotel. I'm just carrying my bag and it's there, hanging around, eating food and watching one more reel. And me and Shekhar is talking. There was a lot of things I didn't know how time went by. Our man walks in at around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, at night.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is your 5 minutes. And he comes in with a smile and he says, I had to, now I know what he meant actually, what he felt. Like he said, he was putting his kids to sleep and all that and talked about all that. And I'm like, really? Like we all have come from Bombay and you're putting your kids to sleep? And I'm like, oh, we don't look, I never looked at work like that. And I'm like, okay, but it's AR. But the moment he walks in, the smile with which he comes in and the energy that he carries in, you never keep it. Whatever has happened and it's gone. Then you look forward to time. What's the time that you're trying to spend with him? So me, him, the director came in around 11 o'clock. Me, him, and Sridhar sitting in the room and working. Working means that is the first time I'm seeing somebody working like that. He's like, okay, he's watching a scene and he's not scoring. He's scoring. And he's scoring in 5-1. I'm like, really? People are still here working with 2-track systems and he's like sitting there, he's like adjusting, writing, editing, putting to them and recording. One by one, he's going. Like, wow, I never seen somebody working like that. So at that rate, he can finish a film in like 3 days flat, 2 days flat. It's like that. That's the speed he's going. And nobody has any doubts about what he's doing. Everybody is happy. Whatever you're hearing is happy.
Yeah.
So at one point, this director says, sir, and the vandi varundhu illaya, and the vandikku oru music kodunga. I'm like, really? You telling A.R.Rahman to give music for a car? Like, hello? And he's like, okay, acha. Apdiya. And the car was, and he's actually trying to find a dramatic point for the car to come in and all that. He actually didn't feel anything about it. So then I realized that probably the director is not able to explain musically what he wants. and he has only that dramatic elements in his mind, and he's actually working. So I said, really, this guy is really genius, man, because he understands it. He understands the fact that he never judged people with whom he was working, whether they know musically inclined, or whether they know as much as he knows, and he accepts them as it is and try to understand their point. And he's going on, and it went on and on and on, and it's went to 2 o'clock. And like Sridhar, of course, is there, and we're all tired. I'm especially tired because for me it's like hitting 22 hours now. And Sridhar, I mean, Rahman told Sridhar, you go, it's late now, you've been working in the morning, you go and come back 7 in the morning. We'll sit together. So Sridhar got up and he came out of the studio and he went into the recording room and he's just roaming around there. So I saw this through the glass, through this glass I can see him. So I came out, met Sridhar, and asked him, what happened, Sridhar? He said, no, nothing, I'm just looking around. And he said, okay, I'll see you at 7 o'clock. I'll come at 7 o'clock. And he left. You don't believe that was the last night Sridhar was in the studio.
Wow.
And he came out properly. And today, now, when I look back at it, Sridhar was imbibing the air in the studio, which is roaming around. He was not leaving. So what happened is, we worked through the night. Of course, the following morning, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, we went around 8:30. We went for breakfast. We came back and we were working. At around then, we asked. Rahman asked, "Sridhar vandilenga?" Then the boy said, "Illa sir, phone பண்ணியாச்சு, coffee எடுத்து சொல்லியாச்சு, இப்போ வரும்." He said, "Just keep my coffee ready. I'm coming." Around 10 o'clock or 10:30, Rahman got a phone call, and he takes the phone call and he walks out. And Rahman is nowhere to be found. So I'm just hanging around there, and 10 become 11:30. And I thought I'll go to the hotel and sort of freshen up, because it's almost 24 hours now that I'm in the studio. So I went to the hotel room and I thought I'll call him and find out, what has happened, because the director also left. And director told me, like, if you know, when Rahman comes back, you let me know. So I went to the hotel and I was just preparing to take a shower, and I thought I'll just call Rahman and find out. And I called Rahman and asked him, you just left, you didn't tell us anything, and the director was waiting, and he went. I'm going to crash a bit. And then he told me, you don't know anything. I said, no, I didn't know. I don't know anything. What happened? He said, Sridhar is no more. I said, what? He said, I can't take it in. I can't digest it. So I'm like, we'll talk later. I was shocked beyond belief.
Wow.
Beyond belief. The first day I meet, that's the first time I'm meeting Sridhar. Now all those events has happened like destined. When I called the director and told him this has happened, that's why Rahman left, and then I went to Sridhar's house. I saw his body, and I came back like every day, like the following day. At around 11 o'clock, we again reassembled in the studio, and this time in the studio we have Amir Khan. Amir came to know the news. He flown down from Bombay. We are all sitting. Then Shiva is there. Shiva is replaces. Shiva and Sridhar is the two important guys. Rahman. But Sridhar's chair is still lying there. Nobody's sitting on the chair. It's still there in that corner. I just couldn't control it. I just couldn't believe it. That is how our life in cinema is like that. Sridhar's body is still lying in the coffin at home.
Wow.
because the cremation is said to be the following day.
Yeah.
We have come back to this room, reviewing the music, and we have to work. The person who actually created the sounds, created a new dimension for the sounds of A.R.Rahman or new music.
Yeah.
He's a dead body now. He was there with us at
Yeah.
the same time yesterday,
Wow.
and he's not even cremated. He's there in the coffin at home. We had to work, you know. The show must go on,
Wow.
and the futility of life at that moment was like really struck me, and I just couldn't control it. And we somehow worked through that night, and following day I went for the cremation, and I came back, and third night we saw me and Rahman only. We were sitting and working, and AR told me that I can't work anymore. I can't do this. So
Wow.
he said, I'm pretty much he's did everything by that time. There were few pieces here and there, and he told me he introduced me to somebody. His name is, I still remember his name. His name is Praveen Mani.
Mm.
There was one sequence where we had to score. He said Praveen will score it and send it to you, and rest will you manage. I have to go because I need to go now. One, I can't take this, and I need to be away from this. And two, Slumdog Millionaire is catching up in the West, and I need to go be part of the uh, marketing, and because it might come off a Grammy and things like that. The person who filled up the form for Grammy,
Mm.
you know, he's no more. When we actually got the Grammy, when we actually went on to win all the big awards,
Mm.
the person who dreamt of it, uh, he was never there. He was not there to receive it or see all of this. So to me, everything is futile. Okay, we got great recognition, we got everything. The world loved us, but there's one thing that still pinches me inside. And actually, the entire mixing session of Ghajini was very, very, very tiresome, very taxing. Air used to call me every night, like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. He used to call me and find out, and he used to ask me how's it going. So the mix went on for about a month.
Yeah.
I was not still not happy with one section.
Mm.
There were, directors wanted something else and producer wanted something else. So I told AR, with this one sequence, if we can rescore. Um, so he came back and rescored and sent it to me. He told me that he will come to Bombay and he'll come to the studio and listen to the mix and all that, but I didn't think he had the mental bandwidth.
Mm.
And during that 2 day that we spent together, I think the second day,
Mm.
we were scoring the climax scene.
Mm.
Remember the last fight of Amir Khan with that guy, he killing the guy and all that. So there was a vocal, I think Raat Fateh Ali Khan's vocal or something, which is working. I was just amazed. This 7 or 8 minutes of climax, like a 10 or 14 minutes of climax. This guy like scored it in like 2 hours. He just did it. He just play. That's how things flows from him. And that's how is when. And this is not just my experience. When he was working with um, Yashji on Yashji's last film, um, Jab Tak Hai Jaan.
Okay, John. Yes.
Yeah, I was doing some work in Yashraj, and AR was there, and it all happens that every Ramzan we meet.
Mm.
Rahman is the sole reason for me to be taking Rosa, and I know last 11 years I have not left a single Rosa.
Mm.
The reason is Rahman, and AR told me that why did you take Rosa, and thank the Almighty for all the blessings that He has given us.
Mm.
And I might make it a point that every Ramzan we meet, and that was first day, Ramzan first day, and
Mm.
he was in Yashraj. I went to see him, and we generally eat like one meal together during the Ramzan without fail. It's only in this lockdown we couldn't meet. Otherwise, last 10 years, it's
Wow.
every year we meet.
Mm.
And so we were breaking Rosa, and Yashi came and sat next to us, and we broke our fast, and then he said, I'll go for namaz and I'll come back. And Yashi was sitting with me, telling me, like, you know, what a lovely guy. I mean, both of you, you both of you brought honor to this country, and that is not coincidence.
Mm.
You know, he is so simple, and he's sitting there and scoring. He comes in the morning and he sit in his chair and he starts working
Mm.
and he's scoring. If I don't like it, I'll tell him and he will change it. You know, I mean, हमारा बॉम्बे में ऐसा कोई काम नहीं करता है. हम उनका स्टूडियो में जाओ, हम उन लोग कुछ सुनाएगा, हम करेक्शन बोलेगा, हम वापस आएगा. वो वैसा नहीं है. वो बैठा है उधर,
Wow.
किसी के साथ कुछ लेना देना नहीं है, किसी के बारे में कुछ बोलेगा नहीं. He's saying like he has nothing else but work. He doesn't talk about anybody else. He doesn't discuss anyone else during his work. He's not bitching about anybody. He's not, that is not his life.
Mm.
His life is this, what he is doing right in front of you.
Mm.
And if this is not a mark of a genius, and this is not what spirituality is all about, what else is it? These are the words of Yashi to
Wow.
me. And within me, inside me, I was telling Yashi, I found it 10 years ago.
Wow.
See, that is how me and him.
Wow. Phew, you almost brought tears in my eyes, Russell. Oh my God, I was shocked, especially with the Sridhar's thing that you just described.
Mhm.
I never expected that would be the moment. Phew. Yeah, I just can't even imagine what you guys must have gone through then.
It's
And
like last year when I was working in 2.0,
yeah,
I changed Rahman's studio into an experimental lab.
yeah,
We were like doing things, and completely ripped off all the speakers and put a new Dolby Atmos system, upgrading everything. There's that like the
yeah.
kind of money I make him spend. He has no qualms about spending money, and comes, I'm doing this floor में speaker, यहाँ पे speakers, वहाँ पे speakers, everywhere, like working with all this format. Where we listen to the first half, and then of course some song came up, and Sridhar's son mixed that song. I was just looking at how time flies.
Yeah.
10 years ago, this boy's father
Mm.
was working in the same room, and the other room
Mm.
where his father was sitting 10 years ago, exactly on the same night.
Wow.
Jeff is sitting and working.
Wow.
Here we are sitting, his son, And on that night, Sridhar's dead body, was waiting in the coffin for this boy to come from wherever he was studying,
Wow.
you know. And I was just thinking how time flies, and how things happen, change things in life. In 10 years, that Sridhar's son is sitting with me and with Rahman. He has mixed the songs, and we're just looking at it, you know.
Wow.
That's life. That is show business, man.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I can't believe it. Anyway, Russell, just moving on slightly. I know a lot of things changed in Slumdog Millionaire. Um, how did you feel when you won the Oscars?
How did I feel? For a moment, I was dead, and I went to the heaven, and I came back. Even today, when I look at that winning video, I don't remember getting up from my seat and going to the stage.
Wow.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
And I finish my speech, and I come back, and we go to this international press room.
Yeah.
I remember AR's manager running to me, and he
Mm.
comes to me and tells me that AR sent me to tell you congratulations, and he loved your speech. This is what he said.
Amazing.
And at that time, I don't know AR is performing. I have no clue AR is performing.
Yeah.
So I stand outside the international press room waiting for our turn, because just before us,
Yeah.
the Dark Knight team won the sound design,
Yeah.
supervising sound editor. So Richard King is like waiting ahead of me, and I am waiting there. I just walked into Richard King and saying that, I'm a huge fan of your work, and thank you. We were nominated together. It's like an honor for me. All that, and he's like looking at me, and I see performing. I said, "What? Yeah, you're performing at the Oscars?" I just I couldn't believe it. First of all, I had no clue that he was performing.
Yeah.
And when we met, also when we were walking down the red carpet and we were listening, there was not even a slightest hint of what he's going to do.
Wow.
Nothing. And so he won Oscar. Then I went into this international press conference and photo sessions and all that, and I came out. And I don't know what happened. I have no clue what happened. So we are just waiting. So we are brought into the backstage, and we're waiting at the backstage at the entrance. So one of the ushers come and told me, like, you guys wait here, don't go back to the seat. And if you win the best picture, you're all going back to the stage. So just wait here.
Wow.
So I'm just waiting. So AR comes in. So they brought, like the way they have brought me, they brought AR. And you know what? I have to show you. Like, in both his hands, he's holding the Oscars. So I said, so he comes in, very cheesily, he comes and tells me, "Hey, Oscar winner." I'm like, look at him, and he's holding two. And he's doing this. And he's doing this. Dumbbell, he's like using a dumbbell. I said, "You have two. Like, where did you get two from?" I'm like such a dumbo. Like, I have no clue that he won two, because I was not in the whole picture. I was somewhere. And like, "You have two." He's like, "Yeah." And he tells me, "Hey, now you should leave sound and you should start teaching." I'm like, just when people are beginning to recognize sound, and just when I'm thinking that I'll get some work and make some money, you're telling me to go and like start teaching. So he's like, in a reciprocation, that is like a voiceover inside my head. In reciprocation, I'm just saying that, you should also start, teaching and parting with the younger generation. He says, I have taken so much advance. I have to work for next 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, eh? So this is the kind of sense of humor he has. Whenever he meets me, he starts pulling my legs. Wherever it is, whosoever I am with, he has that kind of freedom with me. I don't know what. He's like, for him, I am like this little baby. He can just toes around. And it's like that. For example, I'll tell you another incident. Slumdog Millionaire came and we won the Oscars and all that. And there was a joint session of the parliament where we were called in to celebrate. And the following day, after that, of course, television, the following day, there was a screening of the film for the president. So we are all designated seats. We are all sitting in the designated seats. And there was something happened. We did all the test. Everything was fine. Sound is playing all right and all everything. Screening started. No sound. So wherever the president is sitting now, on the ceiling there's a small Chuttu Pioneer speaker, the one that you see in car stereo.
Yeah.
That kind of speaker. Sound is coming from that. Only for the president. Everybody else sitting idle.
Wow.
Now, I've been assigned an ADC, one of the army personnel. So whatever I need to tell him.
Okay.
So me and Rahman and Gulsar sir has been given 3 different people. Whatever our need, we should tell them, and he will make it happen, because they have a protocol, army, president, all that. So this man is sitting next to me. I said, brother, there is no sound. There's a technical problem. We have to stop the screening. He said, okay, I'll come back to you. So it's going on. Like nobody, Rahman, sitting there. He's sitting behind me, next to President. Nobody is talking. You are under protocol. You are not allowed to move from there. Nothing. No. He's sitting in that corner and says, Resul, no sound. I'm like, what? Why do you have to do this to me? So I poked the ADC again, like, brother, there's no sound. He says, yes, sir, I can also hear there's no sound. So I've already reported. And I begin, we have no other, no sitting there. If there's a problem, we should run and solve it. They are under protocol. So I was just trying to get up. This guy hold on to my hand and I made me sit there and he said, sir, you can't get up. I said, why? Sir, it's a protocol. President is sitting behind. Unless she gets up, you can't get up. None of us can leave. So I asked him, so are we going to listen to it like that? Sir, sorry, sir, that's the protocol. When this is going on, again I hear a voice. Resul, no sound. I'm like, man, really? Yeah, really? Like, come on. And so the whole first half, we see the army personnel are running around. I don't know what they're doing. We are in protocol. We can't move our butt. We are sitting there. Everybody, the whole theater is sitting, and all of us are listening to this small Chutu speaker. Yeah. I'm just like thinking, look at the plight of me. A film that won the Oscar for sound, best sound mixing. It's been played to the president of this country.
Without sound.
And without any sound. Like, what more worst thing that can befall upon me? There is this guy sitting behind me. And he's like, Resul, no sound? So first half gets over. Interval. We all go out for break. He's looking at me and grinning. He's telling me, these guys, I'll tell you. These guys, I'll tell you. And we are all in our own attire. In our attire and protocol and all that, we are all sitting there. Now the next thing is the tea with the president. So we all went to our washrooms and came back and having tea. And president is praising everyone. Like Gulsar Saab, Gulsar ji, aap to itne mahan hai, aapka to it's like you are a bit lyrical writer. Aapko bhi Oscar mile. Rahman ji to you are Rahman. Everybody knows now. His work, Gulsar's work, Rahman's work. Everybody knows everyone. I am the only unknown entity. And the turn comes to me. Oh, Resul. She's like, she took, for a moment she paused. And she's saying, but हमने कुछ सुना ही नहीं है आपका काम. Look at it. This man, again in that corner. Resul, what happened? मैं बोला अभी एक काम करो, I'll give you a knife, cut me. ये लोगों के सामने cut me off. मैं इससे ज्यादा बेइज्जती से गुजरा नहीं है जिंदगी में. On top of it, you are adding namak. Do you know this image of AR?
Yes, very well.
Really? I thought it is only to me.
I have met him a number of times, and then he's extremely, insanely humorous. and he always teases me whenever I've traveled a number of times to India to
No, no,
be.
I understand insanely being humorous. I understand.
Yes,
Mischievous.
yes.
This is not humorous. Mischievous is the thing. This is like this is like a fourth standard LKG student and a seventh standard UKG student. This is the perfect case of mischievous professional bullying.
He still has the child in him even now. Uh,
Oh,
because as as another example, when he came on the podcast, we we haven't even started yet. The first thing he's asking me, okay, have you found a girl yet? Are you when are you getting married?
actually, you're not married.
No, I'm not married yet.
You have a girl. You have a girl problem.
No, I don't have a girl problem, but I need to find the right one.
Okay, AR. He said he doesn't have a girl problem, but he is not willing to commit. This is something that you have to warn him.
So he keeps teasing me about this all the time. And anyway, so I don't want to digress. Russell, I absolutely enjoyed this. I mean, it's super interesting. Look, the thing is, I had a long list of things to ask you, and okay, I'll take a step back and tell you what's also evolved as part of this podcast journey. So, when the podcast journey started, number of Sirs fans all got together and they started connecting with me. And then now what's called this I love ARR community has evolved now out of the blue. Probably it was meant to happen, I don't know. And then with that said, you have a huge fan following among Sirs fans, of course. And then they gave me a long list of questions to ask you, which,
Really?
yes, and
Are you
I
serious?
no, I am. So they gave me a really a long list of questions, these many. And then I said, look, if I ask Russell,
Just okay. Just tell them. Just tell them if you are the treasurer of I Love ARR community.
yeah.
If you are the convener, I want to be the treasurer. I want to handle the money. Nothing else. You are the chairman of I Love ARR
Yeah,
Trust.
yeah.
I want the treasurer post.
And so they gave me a lot of questions. I said, no, no, look, if I ask him all of that, he will kill me. And I can't keep you for hours together and keep asking you one after the other. So I handpicked a few questions, and just so that I can probably get that answered. They are your hardcore fans, Russell. So I'll allow me to read it. So this guy is called Navneet, and he has a question. Could you please ask Russell, sir, if live sound of train was blended in the rhythms of Osaya, or is it drum programming?
Uh, no. It is the real sound.
Yeah.
I don't think OSIA as a track doesn't have a. The track doesn't have train sound. It's only the film OST, the film mix track has the train sound, and those train sound is something that I have recorded on
Oh,
location.
yeah.
And see, that's the beauty of Rahman. I mean, do you know that Rahman was never there in Slumdog?
Never there,
He
as
was
in?
never part of. He was never in the part of the crew. He was never been considered as a name.
Wow.
I'll tell you a story. So when we used to work, uh, you know, we almost finished shooting Slumdog,
Mm,
and we were shooting the song. You know, the right now the song that you see
mm,
in,
mm,
in the film Jeho.
mhm.
So we were shooting that with another Hindi track called one of the Hindi track from Dawn 2.
Okay.
Aaj ki raat. Aaj ki raat. That is a song.
Yeah.
Okay. So we used to travel from Juhu. We used to pick up Danny, and we used to travel from Juhu to the VT station,
Yeah.
Victoria Terminal. So that's like a good 2.5 hours. And
Mm.
one day when we were traveling, um, Danny was playing tracks. So what Danny used to do at night, when he gets time,
Mhm.
he used to go to the internet and download, the most favorite Hindi tracks or the trending tracks.
Mm.
So one day we were playing. So we had a play like Damshara. We have a play, and he said, "I'll play the track. You name the composer."
Right.
Okay. So Danny played 28
Wow.
tracks that he loved
Mm.
from a number of choices.
Mm.
22 out of that was from AR.
Wow.
Okay. Then he asked me, who is this guy? I said, he's known as the Mozart of
Madras.
Madras.
Yeah.
His name is A.R.Rahman. And if you are considering an Indian composer, you should consider him. He's the guy you
Yeah.
should go with.
Wow.
Really, I really like his work. So that was it.
Wow.
He's gone. So that is how AR's name, first and foremost, came into his consciousness.
Wow.
I still remember in one of AR's book where he has written, Danny has written the story that one of the crew members has suggested me his name. This is actually the story. And we shot the film and we went away, and we came back, and
Mm.
Danny met Rahman, and they started working together. And when AR works in a film, and everything has to be his work.
Mm.
So obviously, because we came to Ashki Raat, the title track, the film ends in a dance section.
Mm.
So it was Ashki Raat. Can you believe it? Rahman, see, the film is shot
Mm-hmm.
to Ashki Raat,
Mm.
edited
Mm.
to Ashki Raat. He scored Jai Ho to fit the edit.
Oof.
He scored the Jai Ho track that you hear today is not like a Jai Ho scored and then a film was shot over it, over Jai Ho.
Wow.
No. The song was shot over Ashki Raat. That is why you still see if their action is like Aaj ki Raat. It's like they're doing the hand action like that. It's not Jai Ho action. It's not something scored for Jai Ho.
Wow.
It's just something choreographed for Jai Ho.
Yeah.
That is the genius of that man.
Oof.
And he scored it without changing the edit. Probably he went back and tightened the edit or something. But Jeho was never there when we shot the
Wow.
film.
I can't believe it.
Similarly for Osaya, not Osaya, Ringa Ringa song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ringa Ringa was never there again.
Yeah.
When we shot that sequence of where Ringa Ringa is coming in,
Yeah.
we shot to the Subhash guy's song called, because Danny loved that track.
Yeah.
Choli ke piche kya hai? Choli ke piche. And we were like, oh man, this is like the trash. We considered like, because of the lyrics, of course. It's like there's double meanings and all that. We were playing that on location, when these boys and all, they walk in. He wanted the mood to be created, and we were playing that. That has been changed to Ringa Ringa.
Wow.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
Amazing.
That's
Wow.
what. So I am the reason for AR's both the Oscars.
Of course. Yes. No.
So I deserve. Yes. So I deserve to be the treasurer of I Love ARR campaign.
You can be the chairman, Rasul.
No. You be the chairman. The chairman is always responsible. So we need a responsible guy, especially a guy with no wife. He is an ideal candidate. So, treasurer.
Agreed. Look, the next one is from your other fan called Jonah. And he says, can you please ask Russell sir about his experience in acting and the process of recording 300 artists live in Thrissur in the movie he called Oru Kathai Sollatuma.
See, sound story in Tamil is called Oru Kathai Sollatuma. and
I absolutely loved it.
it was. You saw it?
Yes.
Really? Where did you see it?
Well, I saw it on the internet quite some time back.
Really?
We'll not go into the details.
We should watch you out. Okay. Um, so Oru Kathai Sollatuma is not actually meant to launch me as an actor or anything like that, So they just shot me without me knowing about it.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was very coincidental. And I was like I chanced upon being
Yeah.
an actor in that movie. And it so happened that um, after the Oscars, when one of the television channels asked me what is the next thing that I want to do, and I said, just to shut them off, I said I want to record Resul Pookutty. And somebody years after that, somebody called me from Washington. I said, I will fund you. Resul, you wanted to record Resul Pookutty, you go and record it. I said, bro, you're not going to get any money out of this because this is my indulgence, and you want to throw money at it. So he had a story. When he was 17, 18, he left. I mean, he's from Thrissur, and he said, I want to do it as a tribute to my city. He ran away from home. Things happened in life, and he landed up in US and become a millionaire. I said, okay, I came to record. I was when I came to record, they asked me if they can shoot a documentary about how I'm doing things. Then so after the recording, we finished the recordings in like 3 to 5 days. And after the recording, as a part of the documentary, I went to an elephant farm, an Anapandi as we call it. I went there. In one of those conversations with the mahout, she told me that, Russell, do you know the main elephant who is in the procession can't see, it's blind.
Wow.
I said, what? Yeah, I mean, you can't see. His one eye is gone.
Yeah.
Like, how is it? Okay, that is the main elephant. When it's a main elephant, that's the elephant that carries a deity and all that.
Yeah.
I said, how is it conducting itself, all these duties among this crowd and heat? And he said, it's all based on sound.
Wow.
I said, wow. I thought, okay, if I replace the elephant with a visually challenged man, what if my ears become their eyes?
Yeah.
And me as a sound man is trying to pass on an experience to the visually challenged people. How would that be? I thought that's an incredible film.
Amazing.
That's how Sound Story emerged. That's how it came up.
Beautiful.
And so it's a struggle of a sound man to record this mammoth event and pass it on to the visually challenged people as an experience of lifetime.
Beautiful. Wow, such an inspiring story. I have another fan called Akhil.
Now for every inspirational story, I'm going to charge you.
Done.
Okay.
You can take it away from the treasurer account.
See, now all the fans of ARR, I love ARR, especially group. He's asking me to do fraud now. Whereas I was asking very legitimate fee. Guys, watch him out now.
I'm sure everyone absolutely loves you, Russell. So, this guy is called Akhil, and he's got a question for you. He says, could you please ask about the career aspect of sound design for people who aspire to be in this field someday? It's a great question.
Career. It's not a career. It's not, understand this, it's not something that, you study in IIT and you become an engineer. You study in AIMS, you become a doctor. Or you study in IIM, you become a manager. You study in film school, you become a struggler. You are a struggling artist, you are a struggling director, you are a struggling writer, you are a struggling cameraman, you are a struggling editor, you are a struggling soundman. I mean, who the hell signs up an application form, study, pay for the fees, go study, and come out to become a struggler?
Yeah,
Every film is a struggle.
for sure.
Now, why do we opt for this?
Mm,
You know, so this is not a career.
mm,
This is a life. This is a life choice that you're making. You know,
nice.
this is what you want to be in
Mm,
life. Now, how does this? How does it make you different? What is the importance of this struggle? You know, everyone who signed up to be a
mm,
film person or part of filmmaking process or a composer or an artist, they are special.
mm,
They are seeing the world in a different way,
mm,
and they have something from what they have seen and what they have imbibed and what they have learned. They have something to tell to the other generation
mm,
or the people who are coming after them. They're creating something and leave it in the cosmos
mm.
for others to experience it. And whatever you create and you want it to transcend time, this is not a career in that sense, you
Mm,
know.
mm,
And we want to make our life important just for the betterment of other people, you know, that somebody buys a ticket, comes and sit in a theater and watch a movie and listen to the music and listen to the soundscape. When he goes back home,
mm,
there is something happens inside him. He becomes a better person.
mm,
At least he become a refined person. Every time you watch a movie, it is doing something inside you. Every time you hear a composition, it is doing something inside you. It is refining you,
mm.
if not changing you,
Yeah.
you know. So what you are doing or what you're signing up to do is not like doing a job and earning money and living the rest of your life
Yeah.
worry free.
Mm,
You're actually taking a huge amount of responsibility on your shoulder and deciding to conduct your life in a way that will become an example
mm.
for others to follow, you
Wow.
know. So I do not look at this as a career. For me, my work is my life,
Beautiful.
and
Amazing.
it is not different. My
Amazing.
work and life is not two different things.
Beautiful. I absolutely love it. I had goosebumps when you're talking about it. Amazing. Russell, I just have one last question from yet another hardcore fan of yours because, right, this is going back a few weeks ago when I said to the community that Russell is coming. This guy literally jumped off his chair and he was super, super excited. So, this guy has a question. It's actually a bit longer one. He says he's Naushad from Sydney and he says most will ask about Slumdog Millionaire, but I want to know about the sound design of Endiran. That was a massive budget, larger than life science fiction movie with a grand score, but still the sound design played a massive part. Were you conscious of the grand score with you did this doing the sound design? A really super section in the sound was the candle flames extinguishing. How did you even think of something like that?
See, of course it had a big budget, and see, any big budget is just sufficient. It's not enough, you know. Even when we had a bigger budget in 2.0, but it wasn't enough for
Yeah,
2.0,
yeah,
like the vision
yeah.
that Shankar had. And when I do such big films and where big money is at stake,
Mm,
where my work, and most of the time it happened to be AR and his work, it has to go hand in hand. There has to be a synergy
yeah.
in what we're doing. So in such cases, I choose to work in his studio. So from
Mm,
Bombay, I fly down to Chennai,
mm,
and I stay with him for a couple of months.
mm. Wow.
Like 40, 45 days, I stayed in Chennai to mix 2.0. Similarly, I must have spent the equal amount of time in Indiran.
Mm,
And when I am there, I'm constantly sharing my work
mm,
with AR.
mm,
And AR constantly sharing his work with me.
mm,
So we are constantly cross-listening.
mm,
And that happens even in any other film that we do together.
mm,
It keeps happening. So he takes my input, and I see what he's doing, what kind of score he is giving me, and
mm.
how can I do justice to it. And every part of Endiran is very, very consciously designed.
Wow.
In fact, the particular scene that you're referring to,
Mm,
I hired a big room,
mm.
actually a shooting floor, and I must have lit up some 300, 400 candles.
Wow.
I still have a photograph of the same, and I recorded the flame, you
Mm,
know, and by using fans, and those flames were moving, and that was the ambience
mm,
of that sequence, how we created it, and the flames going in, and that was one set of real sound, you know. But when Chitti actually trying to overpower Aishwarya's character, and
mm,
the flame goes off and all that, and actually that realistic setting changes into an electronic, world. So I constantly shifted, from electronics to human, and human to electronics, and we constantly played with it. Yeah,
mm.
it didn't was
Wow.
yeah, quite something.
Beautiful. Russell, look, I am I'm super thrilled that you came on the podcast, and it's been an absolute honor. And I laughed so much in this podcast. I never expected that you would you would have such an amazing sense of humor. Not that I underestimated you, but because of course this is the first time we get to interact, and this has been an absolute surprise package for me. Thank you so much once again. And as I said, I this is going to be one of my favorite podcasts of the 48 odd guests who have come so far. So
Really?
yes, and I'm not saying this to flatter you, but I'm truly I truly enjoy it because it's 11 p.m. for me, but I'm like buzzing with positive energy and so much laughter in this podcast. I'm super thrilled.
Thank you, man. I'm very happy that
You,
I
you
mean, I
You have been in no rush whatsoever. You're just giving me all the time that I want. Thank you so much.
now I know how to make how easy to make you laugh. Probably I will have to find a couple of girls that you've chosen, and tell them the secret, so that you just get anchored on somewhere.
No, in fact,
I'm like standing next to AR and telling the world, keep this guy.
no.
It's also this married men. No, they're a little jealous of these unmarried people, and when you see them like enjoying and roaming around, and like, acha sale, you are enjoying.
So
Somehow, you have to like, that's what all the elders in the family does, no?
I'll narrate
The
something.
young.
I'll narrate
Mhm.
something interesting to you. So one of the guests I don't want to name, and I don't know. Last year there was this news that came where one crazy fan of A.R.Rahman put "I love A.R.R." on his brand new BMW car. I don't know if you could,
That's you, no?
and that was me. And so
Yeah.
one of the guests came up and he asked me, he said, "Okay, it was you, right, who put that I love A R R?" I said, "Yes, sir, it was me." "And are you married?" I said, "No, sir." "Okay, that explains."
Those are like the new age people, or those are the people who want to jump into the news.
Anyway,
They
so
don't they don't understand they don't understand the Indian brother,
yeah.
bro homie. Anyway,
So yeah, thank you so much, Russell. I absolutely